Hello everyone. Already we done with the algal part, okay, of the plant kingdom. Now we are moving towards the bryophyta. So quickly remember when you talk about the algal, we know that the classification on the basis of the pigment, rhodophyceae, phycophyceae, chlorophyceae, right? The pigments like fucoxanthin and all. Okay, so we have done with the algal part very well. Now we are moving to the bryophyte. The algal, it's called thallophyta because it's a thallus. No root system, no stem system, no leaf system was found out there. But as we moving from the algal part towards the bryophyta, some modification happens. Okay, so because see, already the classification we accepted was it is totally depend on the evolutionary characteristics. Right, so something is little advanced as compared to the algal. We're going to find out in bryophyta. So let's understand that in detail. Okay, so here we go with great enthusiasm. Make your notes. Just don't watch the videos. It's better always to make your own notes while studying, right? While watching the lecture. So it will be best for you. So let's go. Okay. So as we discussed, we done with the thallophyta. Now we're going to the bryophyta. What do you mean by bryophyta? The bryon means moss. If you know on the wall, on the dampy wall or the compound wall, you get a green, little grass-like structure. Not exactly the grass, but a little grass, a tiny grass-like structure that is called moss. And the phyton means the plant. So like moss plant is the bryophyta name. Okay, so what are the little changes to understand this in detail? So the bryophyta are a moss-like plant. They are what? They are moss-like plants which grow in a moist, shaded areas and on hills. Can you see that? Yes, these are the what we can say the roadside or something. The stone side is there, and there is a this moss is growing. Even this is a wood. Okay, this is a what we can say the plant was already there, but now the wood is cut. The remaining part, the stalk part of the plant, now it is covered by the moss. So bryophytes growing in the cracks in the pavement. So this is a pavement, right? In a or hilly areas. Now they are short and grow as a dense mats. It's like mats, right? You can walk on that. It's like a mats on the soil. So bryophytes grow as a short, dense, and the mat on the soil. So that is the characteristics. As I show you, little tiny grass-like structure is there, right? So it's like a mat. So why are bryophytes very short? What is the reason for it? So what will be the reason? As a tree have xylem for the transport of the water and phloem for a transport system of nutrients like glucose, and they are very tall. But however, when you talk about the bryophytes, they do not have a xylem and phloem. Try to understand. From the algal, now they're moving, but they don't have a xylem phloem yet. Okay, so they are short. For conduction system, they don't need a tall system, right? So they are what? They are very short. What are the structures? The plant's body is undifferentiated and thallus-like, even though it is little modified. The xylem and phloem is not found. See, xylem and phloem is not there. It's not there. Okay. So they do not have a true roots. So they do not have a no true roots. But can you see something? It is root-like structure. It is a root-like structure that is called rhizoid. That is called rhizoids. Okay. So they do not have a true root, stem, leaves, but they bear a root-like, stem-like, and a leaf-like structure. So the root-like structure, rhizoid is called root-like structure. They have a stem-like structure. They have a leaf-like structure. But the prominent rhizoid, that is the root-like structure, that's how I mentioned over there. The undifferentiated thallus can be prostrate or erect. It will be moving in up direction. It will be the erect direction. Okay. Then alternation of generation, the plants exhibit two phases, like the saprophytic phase, that is the diploid, that will be the diploid. The gametophytic phase, which will be the haploid, which will be haploid. So gametophytic, gameto means what? Gamete producing. Phyta means what? Plant. The gametophyte exists the independently. That is called haploid stage. So make a note of this. Now alteration of generation. The antheridium and the archegonium. Antheridium is for male, archegonium for the female. So there are male and female of bryophytes within the same plant. Okay. So they produce a biflagellate antheroras like sperm. They are called antherozoids. They have a biflagellate. That means they have a two flagella. They are motile because of this. Okay, they are motile. Okay, now when you talk about the archegonium, that is the female part, that will be the female part over here. The flask shaped and the produces a single egg. The flask shaped and produces a single egg. Okay, that is the archegonium. Female sex organ will be there. Fertilization in bryophytes. So water is required. The bryophytes are called amphibian of the plant. Why it's called amphibian of the plant? If you talk about the what we can see. Oh, already that is written. See here, amphibian of the plant kingdom. Why? Now they need, see, when the algae is totally algal, when I'm talking about the algae, they totally depend on water. But when you talk about the bryophytes, they are found. Bryophytes mostly found where? Mostly found in a damp soil, even the moisture or the on the wood. But they need water. They need a water for their fertilization. So they need a water for fertilization completion. So don't you think so? The bryophytes are depend on water for reproduction and soil for anchoring. Okay, so without water, the reproduction is not completed. That's why it's called amphibian. So zygote does not undergo reductional division. It produces a multicellular body. So zygote is not undergo the reductional division. It produces a multiple. If this is a zygote, it undergo the multiple division. Multiple cells will be formed inside. Okay, that is called sporophyte. It is attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte and derives the nourishment. It gives the nourishment from the photosynthetic gametophyte. Now it is a diploid. Okay, it will be the diploid. Okay, this point is very much clear. Make a note of this. Now, when you talk about the classification of bryophytes, the bryophytes are liverworts, hornworts, and the mosses. So liverworts are like this, hornworts are like this, and the mosses are very common that we are talking about. In case of hornworts, known so because of its horn-like sporophytes. The sporophytes are horn-like, like they will be horn-like sporophytes. That's why the name itself. Now, the classification. So, mosses, the predominant stage is called gametophyte, consists of the two stages. What are the stage? First is protonema. If you see the protonema, that is not distinguished. Only the green stems, like green branching is there, right? So, that is the first stage. Protonema is a creeping and branch filament. So, they develops directly from the spore. If there is a spore, if there is a spore, from the spore, they are the one who directly develop from there. Okay, develop from the spore. Then they have a leafy stage. In the leafy stage, second stage, leafy stage, that develops from a, yes, a secondary. Here is the secondary. S was here. Okay, secondary protonema is a lateral bud. So from the lateral bud, so leafy stage from the lateral bud. That is very very important. That is the lateral bud will be there. Okay, the plant's body is attached to the substratum. So this will be attached to the substratum by the rhizoids. So these are the rhizoids, and that is attached to substratum. What is substratum? For an anchoring substratum. For the anchoring purpose, it should be there. Okay, so this point is very much clear. Protonema was the first, then the leafy stage will become. Classification of bryophytes is the mosses first. They are vegetative reproduction. They follow the vegetative reproduction in the mosses is a fragmentation and budding in the secondary protonema. So budding will be secondary. Please note that point. In sexual reproduction, the sex organs antheridia and archegonia are produced at the apex of the leafy shoot. At the apex, please mark that at the only found in apex. After the fertilization, the zygote develops into the sporophyte consisting of foot, seta, and capsule. So they have a foot, seta, and capsule structure. Common examples of mosses are Funaria, Polytrichum, and a sphagnum. So sphagnum is the example of the mosses and the Funaria. So these two are very, very important. Okay, so we are done with the classification of the bryophytes. Not yet, right? Not yet. Only the mosses we have done. Yes, exactly. So you're aware, right? We are talking about. Very good, very good. So classification of bryophyte. The second is the liverworts. They are two types liverworts. Liverworts means that, see, they are thalloid and the foliose. So thalloid liverworts and the foliose liverworts. Thalloid example is Mertensia or Markentia or Markentia. The leafy ones have tiny leaf-like appendages. Can you see that? Leaf-like appendages. Leaf-like. They are not yet leaf. A leaf is not properly developed here, but yes, they appear like leaf. Along the row stem like the structure. So this is a thalloid and this is a folio. Can I say that is a false leaf-like structure? Can you see that? Yes, exactly. So in a liverworts. Reproduction from the in case of vegetative, they follow the fragmentation. Both asexual, gamete and the budding. Liverworts form the gamete and the mosses follow the budding. Sexual oogamy in the both liverworts and mosses. After a fertilization, the zygote developing into the sporophyte consisting of a foot, seta and capsule. Foot, seta and capsule will be there. Now, asexual reproduction of liverwood mosses. The table below highlights the characteristic of difference between asexual and sexual. So when you talk about the asexual, with the help of gamma. But in case of asexual, only the birds, vegetative part, right? So gamma cups. See, these are the gamma cups. These are the gamma. These are the gamma. If you see the liverwoods over there, they form the gamma, a cup-like structure. A cup-like structure is called the gamma. Okay, so they are asexual bird called the gamete. This is also asexual bird, but they form the gamete. Gamete germinate to form the new organism. They got germinated and they form the new organism. In case of asexual, in case of mosses, so in liverworts we have a cup gamma. In case of mosses we have a birds, so they have a proteinema. From the bird there is a, see, there is a sporophyte, then it's from the little converted into proteinema, a juvenile gametophyte, juvenile young one, right? And foliar stage, that is adult stage, will be there in case of mosses. Okay, now sexual reproduction when you talk about in both, so in case of liverwoods and the mosses, male and female sex organs are found on the same different thalli. Male and female sex organs are found on the same plant at the tips of the leafy shoot. Yes, Archegonia and Anthragonia. Gametes produced by the sex organ, I'm talking about a second point right now, into the zygote that develops into the sporophyte. Okay, but in case of this, gametes produced by these sex organs fuse and form into the zygote that develops sporophyte. Sporophyte produces spore by the meiosis. So this is undergo the meiosis. In case of liverwoods, they are not undergo the meiosis. So the meiosis spores are produced within the capsule, which germinate to from the free living gametophyte. And here, the sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than that of the liverwoods. Try to understand that. Try to understand that. Okay. Now, importance of the bryophyte. What is the importance? Ecological. They have some ecological importance. So, what is the ecological importance? First, the death and the decay of the mosses leads to the soil formation. Yes, that is very, very important. Prevent the soil erosion by reducing the, because it act like a mat. Yes or no? Bryophytes act like a mat. So the rainfall, the drop of the rain is not falling directly. Okay, soil erosion will be very less in this case. The food for the herbivores, herbaceous animals, okay. And packing material is a peat moss. The packing material is called peat moss. That economical peat obtained from the sphagnum. Okay, the sphagnum is for the peat. Uses of the peat, what are the peat? Used as a fuel and also gardening. Due to the high water holding capacity, the peat is what? High water holding capacity, used as a packing material for the transshipping of the living material. So it gives the moisture. It's kept the moisture alive because of the high moisture content. They are moist shady forests. They form in what? The habitat is what? Moist shady forest. The water content, moisture is there. The crevices of the rocks also, if they got water, they can go grow there. Then bogs and the marshes also get found. And the epitophyte on the tree trunks. Epitophyte, epito. Epi means above the ground. These plants are there on the tree trunk. First terrestrial plant to possess a vascular tissue is xylem and phloem. Okay, so we move to the pteridophyte. Okay, we move to the pteridophyte. Okay, so these are the pteridophytes. See, this two class is totally for what? Bryophytes. But I just read the habitants of the pteridophytes. Okay, so can you tell me, or can you tell me when you talk about the algal part, then it moved to the bryophytes. Now it's moving to the pteridophytes. So how it's going? It is going what? It is going the evolutionary basis. That's why I just read the characteristics of pteridophytes. So I wanted to tell you this is the evolutionary thing. Okay, till the importance of bryophyte, our bryophyte topic is done. Okay, so in next class, we're going to talk about the pteridophyte in more detail. Okay, so thank you for paying such a good attention.